and thank you very much to everyone who's joining us tonight. Thank you all. My name is Luigi Etienne. I'm an international recruitment officer at the University of Twente. And today I would like to talk to you a little bit more about the university, talk you through about our master's programs, bachelor's programs, life in Enschede, and studying at the university and all that it entails. So thank you all for being here and for taking the time tonight to join us in this conversation. Today, I'm gonna try to, if possible, if everyone is interested and want to ask questions, I will try to make it more conversational. I will just use the slides to support whatever we're talking about. So please feel free to ask questions at any given point. And of course, at the end, we will have a short space for questions and answers. Now, this is what we're going to be looking at during the presentation. We're gonna talk a little bit about the university. We're gonna talk a little bit about the country as well. We're gonna talk about our bachelor's programs, master's programs, funding options, and what happens after the admission at the University of Twente. Now, the Netherlands, most of you will probably recognize these images from the Netherlands. When people talk about the Netherlands, you will always hear about the tulips, you'll hear about the windmills, you will hear about the cheese, and of course you will hear about the bikes, because here in the Netherlands there are actually more bikes than people. So you'll hear a lot about these things, but there's a lot more to the country, and the country offers a lot to students who come to study here. The University of Twente is located in the Netherlands, of course, and we are located in the eastern part of the country, in an area which is bordering Germany. Our campus is located in Enschede. That's the name of the city, and Enschede is located in the Netherlands, which is known for being the gateway to Europe. What does that mean? How is it that the country is the gateway to Europe? Well, the strategic position that the Netherlands has in the continent allows for it to be a great point for different types of traffic, for example, air traffic, sea traffic, and also regular trains, buses, etc. Everything is very well connected here in the Netherlands, and that allows for the country to be a strategic place for companies to come with their headquarters, for example, here in the Netherlands. Now, the University of Twente is a research university of technology. What does that mean? In the Netherlands, we have different types of, two types of universities. We have research universities and we have applied sciences universities. The research universities are more focused on the research part of things. So everything is based on the research. There is a clear academic path that leads to, for example, a master's, after a master's, a PhD. And there are more focused on the lectures, for example. When we talk about applied sciences universities are more focused on the hands-on part of education. So education takes place in smaller groups, and it's very much focused on doing. And when we talk about a research university of technology, there are 4 technology universities in the Netherlands, and these universities are more or less in the middle between one type of education and the other. So the University of Twente is a research university of technology, which means that we are very much focused on technology, of course, but our educational system is also not only focused on research, but also focused on the hands-on part of education. So we make sure our students have a great experience in hand when applying to after graduation and applying to for a job. Now, why should you study in the Netherlands? There are, of course, a great amount of countries worldwide offering very good education. So then why is the Netherlands an attractive place to come and study? As you can see here in the slide, there are several reasons. Of course, there are way more, but I tried to summarize a few of them. For example, one of them is the wide range of programs in English. The Netherlands is the #1 non-English speaking country offering programs in English. There is a very wide range of programs in all of our universities that are English taught, so internationals can actually come and study those programs. There's an international and a multicultural environment. The Netherlands is historically known for its interaction with other cultures. They are historically known for being merchants, so they have always been in contact with other cultures, and because of this, the country has developed this international and multicultural environment and this openness towards other cultures. Now, the costs of study are affordable. And what does this mean? The Netherlands have a very high quality of education, and for the level of education that the country offers, the costs of study are pretty low. So the level of education is comparable to other countries like the US or UK, but the costs are considerably lower than in these countries. Then you have the open and warm culture, as I mentioned before, because of the openness of the Dutch with other cultures, innovative teaching methods, and all Dutch universities are well positioned in international rankings. So these are just a few of the reasons that you could consider when deciding why you should come to study in the Netherlands. Now here, now we discussed a little bit of the Netherlands as a country, but then the following question, the most logical following question would be, why study at the University of Twente? And the University of Twente has many attractive characteristics that a student could definitely consider when trying to choose a university in the Netherlands. One of them is, again, the international multicultural community. We have a broad international community, not only students, but also staff members. And that is definitely one of those points for a student to consider. The campus is a very innovative campus. We're a University of Technology, so we have a lot of facilities for the students. But besides that, the campus is the only campus, the University of Twente is the only campus university in the Netherlands. What does that mean? We have a campus that where everything is concentrated in one place. So you have study facilities, you have housing on campus, you have sports facilities, you have labs, but you also have other facilities such as supermarket, you have a hairdresser, you have a job agency, and we have a lot of sports and cultural associations. So the campus is the place to be. The campus has everything a student might be interested in while studying at the university. Then excellent study and research facilities, of course, as I mentioned before, a wide range of educational programs. We offer more or less 20 bachelor's programs and around 32 master's programs in different topics, of course. Then the university has been named for several years in a row the most entrepreneurial university in the Netherlands. And why is this? The university is very much focused on promoting entrepreneurship amongst the students. So if there's a student who's interested in studying, in developing a company, a startup, there is an incubator company, business incubator on campus where they can go for guidance, where they can go for support in developing this idea and making it into an actual business. And because of that, there is an area next to the campus called, in Dutch, it's the Kennispark, which is the park of knowledge. And almost all of the companies that are part of the Kennispark are companies that came out of the University of Twente. We call them spin-offs of the university. And next to that, historically, there are alumni from the university who have built companies that most of us might have used at some point, like, for example, takeaway.com, or, for example, booking.com. So there is a lot that is being done at the University of Twente, and the university promotes and tries to provide the students with all of the facilities and everything that they need in order to develop their ideas. Then highly personalized and future-proof education, and extensive sports and cultural facilities as well. We have a lot of student associations based on different interests, amongst which are sports as well. Now, how is, I mentioned before, the 32 master's programs and 20 bachelor's programs, but how are those divided within the university? The university has 5 faculties that you can see now on your screens, and the education is taught in this faculty. So all of our programs belong to one of these faculties. So it belongs to topics related to one of these faculties. Now, some facts and figures about the university. As I mentioned before, we are the only campus university in the Netherlands. We have a campus area of 1.5 square kilometers. We have around 12,900 students. And of those students, 33% are international students. So we have a very big international community. Now, around 130 associations, as I mentioned before, based on different interests, could be sports, nationalities, different interests. And we also have accommodation on campus for our students, and more or less 1,100 companies that were born from the University of Twente. Now, of course, this also leads to the question about alumni. We have, at this moment, we have around 34,000 alumni worldwide. 54,000 alumni worldwide. And though they are living in 173 countries around the world and working for very important companies, such as the ones you have on your screens at the moment, like Shell, ING and ABN, which are banks, Thales, Philips, Booking.com, Takeaway.com. Now, after we spoke about a little bit about the country, a little bit about the university, now let's dive into our programs, our bachelor's programs and master's programs. Now, for our bachelor's programs, it is very important to mention this: the education at the University of Twente follows a model created by the university called the Twente Educational Model. The Twente Educational Model is basically a model in which students, we make sure that students after graduation have what is necessary to succeed in the labor market. So students work in interdisciplinary groups, and they work on different type of projects and having different roles within those projects, just to make sure that they can fulfill all of the roles that they will need in the future after graduation and working in a company. These are the bachelor's programs that we offer at the University of Twente. These, as you can see, we divided it into an English thought or Dutch thought programs. And you will notice that there are 3 programs in this list that have the initials NF, which means numerus fixus. The numerus fixus programs are programs with a limited amount of students. So each year we can, when the application process opens, these 3 programs can only have up until 400, can only admit up until 400 students. And these programs, because of this limitation, have different deadlines as well. Whereas the deadline for any other program would be in May. For these programs, for numerus fixus programs, the deadline would be 15th of January. This is how our bachelor programs are structured. So the bachelor's programs have a duration of 3 years, and each year is divided in quartiles. Each quartile is the equivalent for a module. Each module has is equivalent to 15 ECs, so 15 credits, meaning that each year has is an equivalent of 60 credits. Now, one thing that's important to note about this structure that you see here is that let me see if you can see here where it says binding recommendation modules. These are the first 3 modules of the first year. And what does BSA mean? It means that after you have passed those 45 ECs, you will get an evaluation, and that evaluation would determine whether you can continue or not with your program. Of course, they're evaluating your performance. They're evaluating how did you do during those 3 modules, and they will submit a recommendation. This recommendation is binding, as the name says, which means that after receiving a negative recommendation, the student cannot continue with this specific program. You can switch programs, you can switch universities. You cannot continue with this specific program. But if you receive a positive recommendation, then you can continue with your program as you already had planned. And this is why we always recommend students to pay very, very special attention to the first 3 modules of their programs, to really focus on their studies. And later on, after those first 3 modules, of course, you still have to study, you still have to focus, but then you can be a little bit more relaxed because you can continue with your program. Now, admission requirements for our bachelor's programs. As a student from Taiwan, in order to access a bachelor's program at the University of Twente, you will have to go through a foundation year. So it's not necessarily a whole year. It could be, for example, a 6-month foundation year. And depending on what are the subjects you need to follow and how much do you need in order to be leveled into for the program that you're interested in. But this would be the process. This is for the bachelor's program, not for the master's. For the bachelor's programs, then you will need to go through a foundation year. and gain the necessary skills that you need in order to start and pass the foundation year in order to start with the first year of your bachelor's. Now, tuition fees. When talking about tuition fees, it's good to, and that's why I divided it here in the presentation, it's good to make sure that we separate the programs so that it's easier for you to understand which programs have which tuition fees. We have two types of programs plus the University College Twente. We have the Alpha Gamma programs and the Beta programs. Beta programs, as you can see on the screen, are mainly engineering programs. So every program related to engineering is grouped within the Beta programs, and then other programs that are not engineering programs are grouped into the Alpha Gamma programs. For the Alpha Gamma, the tuition fees are $9,500 per year. Then for the Beta programs, it's $12,750 per year. And for the University College Twente, it's 1,564 euros per year. These are costs per year. So if as a bachelor program with a 3-year lasting 3 years, then you will have to estimate that you will pay this amount each one of those 3 years. In the meantime, please, if you have questions, do not hesitate. Let me know that there's a question and I'm happy to answer. Otherwise, at the end, we can discuss your questions. Now, for master's programs, as I mentioned before, we have 32 master's programs. These are listed here. We have 1-year and 2-year programs. So, and they are mentioned here, which ones are 1 year. The other programs are 2-year programs. And again, most of our programs are English taught programs, as you can see here on the slide. Now, what are the admission requirements for our master's programs? First off, you need to have a 4-year bachelor degree. Then you need to have a CGPA of at least 80%. And of course, a mastery, you need to prove your mastery of the English language because the programs are going to be taught in English. So it's important to prove the mastery of the English language. And how do you do this? You can do this using one of the 3 accepted tests. One is the IELTS with a score of at least 6.5, TOEFL with an overall score of at least 90, and you can also present a Cambridge C1 or Cambridge C2, and with a grade of A, B, or C, and at least 176 as your score. These are the 3 exams that are accepted. In the past, we've got questions about other exams, such as Duolingo. We unfortunately do not accept any of these. These are the only 3 exams that the University of Twente accepts. Now, tuition fees for masters. The same as with bachelors, we divided them into beta programs and alpha gamma programs. Then it's easier for you to understand which programs have which tuition fees. For our beta programs, again, programs related to engineering, we have the tuition fees are 16,750 euros per year. Again, then alpha gamma programs, the costs are 12,750 euros. Now, there are a few programs with a application fee. In general, our programs do not have an application fee, but there are programs from 2 faculties with application fee, and the application fee is 100 euros, and these 100 euros are not refundable. Now, as you can see here, depending on the starting date of your program, there are programs that start in September, or there are programs with two possible starting dates. One is September and the other one is February. So depending on the starting date of your programs, depending on the program, that you choose, the starting date of your program could be different. So that we always recommend to check the starting date, and because of course the application process differs from one starting date to the other. So always just check what is the starting date and start your process on time. Now, the pre-master's program, if in case, I'm going to explain a little bit about this. When you apply for a master's, if it is determined that you are lacking any of the required subjects that you need in order to start with your master's program, then you will probably get the recommendation to start a pre-master's program. Pre-master's program is also a program where you follow some subjects that you need in order to start with your master's, and this will prepare you to begin with your master's program. Now, the cost for pre-master's program is 36 euros per EC. So depending on how many subjects you need, how many ECs are related to those subjects, then you can calculate how much is the cost for your pre-master's. And one important thing to know about the pre-master's program is that you cannot apply to a pre-master's directly. You need to apply to a master's program, and it will be determined whether you can follow you are directly admissible to the master's or not. If you're not, then you will get the recommendation to follow a pre-master's program. Now, there's a typo here, but for funding, it's important to know that you first need to be admitted to your program, and after you have been admitted to your program, you can start the application, the scholarship application process. In our website, in utwente.nl, you will find the scholarship finder, which is this image here. And in the scholarship finder, you can filter based on the criteria you can see here on screen: country, level of study, and program, and you will see which scholarships are available for you. Now, what happens after you have gone through the admission process, and maybe even the scholarship process? Then you've been admitted and you're getting ready to come to the University of Twente. But what happens after that? Well, the University of Twente has several services in place for international students to help you in the process of getting to Netherlands, but also in the process of getting used to your new house here in the Netherlands. For example, there is support with accommodation, so that you can find a accommodation here in Enschede. There is support with insurance. Insurance is mandatory here in the Netherlands. So by law, you cannot live in the country, even if you're studying, without an insurance. The university supports in this process and help you get the insurance for living in the country. You have the introduction days, which we call the kick-in, and it is a huge event here in Enschede. It's a festival-like event, and here you have several events throughout the whole week to get you started in the University of Twente. Events such as markets where you can get books, you can get supplies for your first days at your apartment. You can get there's a lot of information that's given during the kick-in, and one of the things that we always recommend the students is to try to go to the kick-in, to attend the event, because There you will also meet a lot of people from your country, a lot of people who are studying the same program you're studying, and it's like a soft landing at the university and in Enschede. So it's a very useful event. They have a lot of different activities for the students that are just arriving in the campus. Now, as I said before, our programs are taught in English, but of course, if you are interested in learning Dutch, it's always possible. The university also offers free Dutch lessons for students. So if it's something that interests you, you're very welcome to join one of these classes. And as we mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, we have more than 100 student associations. And these associations are based on different things, based on interests, based on nationalities, based on sport, based on studies. There are a lot of associations, so you can find whatever's more interesting to you and join an association if you're interested in. Now, as an international student, the University of Twente offers you, when you come to study with us, an accommodation offer. The accommodation offer is important to understand that it's just an offer. So you are not you're not obliged to take that offer. We would always recommend to take the offer because it's 1 year, and it's 1 year that you will already have an accommodation, and then for the following year you can already start looking for a new house here in Enschede, but from a different perspective, because you already know people, you already know the city, you already know the place, so it's easier the second year around. But we offer, the university will make you an offer for accommodation for 1 year. And there is a website, there is a page on our website where you can, of course, look at what are the housing options. We work with a specific company, but of course, there are way more possibilities within in campus and outside campus. It is important to understand that even though there is a situation with housing in the Netherlands, Enschede is a city where it's easier to find accommodation. And with this, I'm not saying that it's easy, that you will start looking in August and you will find something. Of course not. We always recommend students to start looking for housing early, to start around April or May. But if you compare it to other cities in the Netherlands, it's easier to find accommodation in Enschede. So it would probably not be a huge struggle if you start on time and you really start put some effort into it. So we always recommend start on time, start early, and you will definitely find something in Enschede. Now, costs of living here in Enschede. This is also something that would vary from city to city. So we, of course, made an estimation based on Enschede, not on the country itself. So if you're planning on coming to study here at the University of Twente, as you can see here, our city was named the cheapest student city to live in 2019. And here you have an estimation of costs. Important to understand that this is an estimation that can vary depending on a lot of factors. So, for example, if the entry visa is a one-time cost, so this will be for the first year, of course. But transportation, for example, if you get here and you decide to get a bike, then you will probably not have to pay transportation costs. So that's something that you can get out of your list. So this is an estimation that we make we make it every year, try to give you an understanding of how much it could cost to live here in the Netherlands, but also based on the accommodation you got, based on how much you pay for food, for rent, etc., it will vary. But this will give you an idea. We estimate that with 12,000 per year, you should be already covered for living here in Enschede. There are several ways to get in touch with us at the University of Twente. We have different events for students to get in touch with us and to answer your questions. For example, sorry? Oh. There are several events organized to support international students and for you to ask your questions if you have any doubts or if you need any help. For example, we have the online open days for bachelors, the online open days for masters. We have the possibility of becoming a student for a day. There's online meetup with a student. So if you want to talk to a student either from your country or studying the same program that you are studying, it is possible. We will get you in touch with a student and they will give you more information about the program, about their experience here in Enschede and so on. There's also fairs and webinars. Webinars like these, but we also attend fairs in the countries. We also organize events in the countries with our agent, for example. And in those events, we get in touch directly with you and we answer your questions and we are there to support you in your process. And of course, the university is also on social media and you can find us on different platforms where you can ask your questions and we will be there to help you with that. So with this slide, we reach the end of the presentation. First off, thank you all very much for your time, for your attention, for being here. I know it's quite late already, but I'm very happy that you were all here and that I could guide you through the presentation.